I think that this is still new, and it's going to take time for the community to acclimate to having a woman in a role of spiritual leadership.
This is Faith Complex, a dialogue about the entanglement of religion, politics, and art.
Hi, I'm Sarah Fainberg of Georgetown University, and you're watching Faith Complex. Our guest today is Rabba Sara Hurwitz. In 2009, Rabba Hurwitz became the first woman to be officially ordained as a rabbi by the Orthodox movement. This ordination generated a lot of controversy, some calling it a perversion of Orthodox Judaism. Sarah, tell me, what is a rabba?
A rabbah, R-A-B-B-A, as opposed to rabbi, R-A-B-B-I, functions exactly like a rabbi. I speak from the pulpit. I give sermons, and I counsel people. I teach. I'm present for my community. There are some slight differences. There's 3 things that I cannot do as a female rabbinic presence. Those 3 things that I call the red lines are women still don't count in a minyan or a quorum of 10 men during prayer services, but they can be present to coordinate the service. Women cannot sit on what we call a beit din, or a body of 3 rabbis to oversee a conversion, and a women cannot lead certain parts of the services.
In normative Jewish law, in halacha, what are the precedents to this title and position?
First of all, I should say that throughout history, there have always been women who have achieved leadership roles, significant leadership roles. I just have to mention Marat Osnat. Marat means Mrs. Osnat, as one example. In Kurdistan, she became the head of the Rosh Yeshiva, the head of the school, training men to be rabbis. In terms of halachic law, Jewish law, there isn't a lot of limitations on women being present in a rabbinic role. She can be in the position of psak halacha, or giving legal advice. She can be a pastoral counselor, and she can be a leader in the community. I've really analyzed each of those individual laws, and I don't see any prohibitions to allowing a woman to be a full-fledged member of the clergy.
Mm-hmm. If you did intend to become part of the clergy, if it was your calling, your personal vocation, why did you go to the Orthodox world, where you knew you would encounter so much resistance? Was it about becoming a rabbi, or becoming a female rabbi in the Orthodox world?
I chose the Orthodox community. That's my community. It's where I fit. I couldn't imagine being part of any other community. And I don't know that I ever had that aha moment of I want to be a rabbi. It was just a natural evolution of trying to use my natural talents to serve a community, and that's really all I wanted to do.
Your ordination has created a split in the Jewish world between a more liberal Orthodox movement and a more conservative Orthodox community. So why do the 2 camps fight against one another?
Well, first I want to say I'm not sure that there has been a split yet. It may be inevitable. I just don't know. The women's issue isn't going to be the only issue that leads to that split. There are serious differences within the Orthodox community. I think one of the issue is the centralization versus the decentralization of rabbinic leadership. I think the other big issue is the conversion issue. It's a very painful one. But I think those are the issues that are going to lead to a split. I'm not saying the women's issue is going to be ignored, but I don't think it's the only issue that will lead to a split if that is inevitable.
The Rabbinic Council of America, the world's largest rabbinic association, has made Rabbi Avi Weiss commit that he would not confer the title Rabbah to any other female graduates of his yeshiva. What are your comments on this?
You know, it relates to the previous question. We want to stay within the camp of the Orthodox movement. That's where we all fit. When the RCA had some concerns about my ordination and the future of female spiritual leadership, we met with the RCA and we talked about what the red lines are. And I think we entered an agreement. I think the RCA was pushed much further than they have ever been before in acknowledging what women can actually do. I can even say from my own journey that when I started out, people were uncomfortable, but the more I go to communities, the more people see that I'm able to contribute to a community, that I'm there to teach and to be a role model for others, the more acclimated people become to seeing a woman in a spiritual leadership position.
What are the similarities and differences between Orthodox feminism in the US and in Israel? Is the type of Orthodox feminism that you espouse a North American and modern Orthodox phenomenon?
There's so many exciting things happening in Israel. I think that a lot of things in terms of female leadership are happening under the radar, and we're going to hear about them in the coming years. I think there are a lot of similarities happening there, and whatever is happening, it's all good. Meaning having any opportunity for a woman to be present in any way is good. So having the Yoetzet Halacha program where women can be a resource for other women on laws relating to sexuality and intimacy and menstrual cycles is wonderful. And having women advocate for other women in the court system is also a great improvement to what was there before. There are nuanced differences, but I think that we're all striving for the same goal, which is greater involvement of women in spiritual leadership.
Where do you think now this movement is heading? Do you think it will reshape the Jewish community as a whole?
Absolutely. I think that the potential is to make the community more rounded, and you know, there was an 11-year-old girl who sent me such a wonderful letter saying that she felt like there were no role models for her, but now she has people to look up to, and she's inspired.
Do you think you represent a mainstream phenomenon in the US or just a marginal movement?
I like to think it's mainstream. I can say that Yeshivat Maharat has received tremendous excitement. People are excited about Yeshivat Maharat. It's as if people have been waiting for an institution. You know, when we open up our doors in September of '09, we received 35 applications, which let us know that that there are women who are thirsting for serious Torah knowledge, and they're interested in leading and contributing to the community. So I would like to think that this is going to be something that's going to become a norm, but I do recognize it's going to take time.
I know, Sarah, you have 3 beautiful boys. If you were to have a girl in the future, what would you encourage her to do?
Well, first of all, I feel so blessed that with my 3 children, and I think that there is maybe there's an irony that I don't have girls, but I do think it's a privilege to raise boys who are open and think it's so natural that women can be rabbis and can be a rabbinic presence. And so that, I feel, is a big contribution. And even though my older ones are only in kindergarten, they've let everybody know that women can be rabbis, despite the fact that some of the kids argue with them.
We've been speaking to Rabba Sara Hurwitz. Sarah Hurwitz, thank you for being on Faith Complex.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.